Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Cory. I'm your host, Cory Smith, here to discuss some NC State men's basketball. Obviously, I don't usually dress like this for our Coffee with Cory segments, but today happens to be a pretty special day. The introduction of Mr. Justin Gainey, an NC State alum, former point guard for the Wolfpack, late 1990s, for those who haven't been keeping up or didn't watch NC State back then, or weren't alive back then, because there are a lot of people that are massive NC State fans currently in college that didn't get a chance to watch him back then. That's how long ago it was. But man, the thing I love about this hire is the fact that you have so much passion already coming from Justin Gainey. You saw him show up yesterday wearing a full suit, already wearing the red tie. Probably didn't have to go to a shop to go get it. Just had it sitting there waiting for this moment to arrive. Gets to NC State, and the biggest thing that I'm pointing out here is the focal point that, yes, the hire was made official yesterday. Press conference will happen today, but immediately after that, and it's probably already started, I'm going to assume that he probably talked to the players last night that are currently on the team or looking to potentially return, and probably already addressed what he wants to see and what he wants to see from the program and trying to make his pitch to them. But there's so many other things that come along with this. You have a roster that already needs to be filled. Over half of the roster needs to be filled for this upcoming season, given the fact that you already had 6 seniors that were on the team last year that were going to leave regardless. You also have a couple that are not expected to return. Everything that I had heard was Terrence Arsenault probably isn't coming back. We'll see what happens with Matt Abel if the hire of Gainey changes his mind. But the thought process before all this was he was probably not going to come back. We'll see if how much that shifts. Paul McNeil, the big question mark. Can you get him to come back? A third year under a third different head coach and a guy that came into the program with high expectations this past year, actually saw them met. You couldn't have asked for a better hire than a guy that went through all that. Initially was offered. I just wrote this in our story. Freddie Johnson references Greensboro Day High School, an absolute legend in the state of North Carolina. I mentioned the fact that Justin Gainey, when he was in high school, was actually offered by Les Robinson, was not offered by Herb Sendek, ended up signing and staying with Herb Sendek all 4 years, playing almost every single minute under him. And then, you saw that all come to fruition for him with him being an NC State great and now getting the opportunities that he has because of those connections, because of his loyalty, and now returning home after, 20 years later after becoming a very low level assistant with NC State, works his way all the way up to now becoming the NC State head coach. But the big thing for him, looking at the checklist, obviously trying to retain players from last year's roster, but then, now bringing in a guy like Ricky Collins that comes over from UNC, or Riley Collins. I apologize. Going to have to learn a lot of new names here, but flew on the jet with him back to Raleigh. Will be taking over an assistant coaching role from everything we're told. Worked with player personnel when he was at Tennessee. So a guy that, again, getting a big opportunity because of the loyalty that he's showing to Justin Gainey and coming to NC State, a brand new place for him now at this point. So again, all those things already kind of paying off for guys that were in similar situations for him. And we'll see who he ends up filling in those assistant coaching roles. That's somebody that obviously has close connections still to Tennessee, has close connections to a lot of the same guys that have been worked through that system and play, coached individually with a lot of those players and seeing them, be able to grow. So we'll see ultimately if he's able to kind of help with Gainey to bring some guys that may still have those ties to Tennessee, whether they were players that transferred away and are looking to transfer to a new program, or guys that were at Tennessee, or guys that he recruited, before they went to Tennessee and then went to different places. So there's a lot of different, tentacles out there that they're trying to connect, and we'll see ultimately if they're able to make that work. Just realized I never actually drink the coffee. By the way, shout out to Pack House. Out here in Youngsville, working to get a sponsorship with them. We'll see if we have that in the near future. We'll try to announce that soon as well. But excellent coffee out in the Youngsville area, also out in Franklinton too. So they've got a couple different spots that you guys can check out. A great name. They're also NC State alums too. So just giving them a shout out really quickly before we continue this talk. But Last thing I wanted to also discuss, we talked a little bit about the coaching staff in the past. It does still sound like to me, Levi Watkins, somebody that is tied to this staff. I know a lot of people have tried to tie Julia Hodge to this staff. I don't think he's somebody that's going to come, now or even in the future potentially. But the other thing I wanted to kind of point out as well is what they're going to be looking at in the, when it comes to the trying to target guys in the transfer portal too. Everything we've heard is that defense will be a must for this team. He's going to go out there and look at guys. Obviously, you want to get two-way players, but he feels like the guys that they're going to go after, he wants to know have that energy, but also have that toughness to them that they can play on both sides. Also, hearing that they want to look after length. That was a big issue for NC State this past year. You had length, you had roster versatility. A lot of guys that played the guard position, played the wing position that were 6'6" or 6'7", but you just didn't have the size down low. And that is going to be a must-have for Justin Gainey when he's assembling his first roster and all the guys he's going to try to bring in. And then the other one, the last one too, just wanted to mention the fact that Justin Gainey was working hard behind the scenes at Tennessee to be able to put together all the players that he wanted from an analytics standpoint, finding the guys that he felt like fit their system from a defensive side of basketball. So if he's able to, identify some of those same guys that may fit what NC State is going to do, I think there's a lot of people that think like, oh, he's coming in and he's not going to know anything as far as assembling a roster or putting these things together. He's been working very hard behind the scenes to do all those things for Tennessee from a recruiting standpoint, both in the transfer portal, but also at the high school level. And he has a lot of roots in North Carolina that, if there's guys that are from the state that have gone elsewhere, he's probably recruited them, or he knows their head coaches and knows how to easily get up with them and try to bring them back home. So we'll see how much that comes to fruition for NC State in the coming weeks and months as they try to assemble this roster. But they're a little behind the eight ball because of the fact that, it's not something that you've been building towards for NC State specifically. But there's a lot of guys that they've already, identified through their system, through their analytics that they wanted to go after. Also still hearing, we'll see what ends up happening with Pat Stacy. There's kind of a push and pull right now. A guy that was, the analytics guy for NC State this past year, the assistant GM. We'll see if he ends up sticking on this roster. There's also a chance that he could go with Adam Howard down to Troy. He's been helping NC State through this process to try to find the next guy and keeping communication with Buc, Oregon, and NC State as a whole. So we'll see ultimately what that means for him. But, Adam Howard going down to Troy, he was somebody that he was very close with. So we could see him either be pulled there or stick with NC State, given what situation he might have. Does he get a full-on GM role down at Troy and he's not offered that at NC State, and that gives him another opportunity to continue moving up? We'll see. But again, that's another one to watch in the coming weeks for NC State. And also, a couple others, Chris Zupko, that's been with the program for a long time, could be sticking around. Could you bring some other former players, former staff members back to NC State that have NC State ties? We'll see. And again, I mentioned Torin Dorn yesterday, another one to watch potentially, but a few others that NC State will be going after under the Justin Gainey era. Last thing I wanted to point out, we'll have full coverage of the press conference. We cannot live stream it, unfortunately, but it will be on ACC Network. ESPN has a stranglehold on those things. If they get the rights to it, you can't live stream it. So again, it will be on ACC Network. You can watch it there. We'll also have our own video immediately afterwards. We'll have a transcript immediately afterwards once we're able to get the full thing transcribed. But also we'll have stories. We'll have other videos, everything that we possibly can out of this upcoming afternoon, and then be able to put together all the things that you guys are looking for on the site. If you haven't already, please make sure that you check us out, packpower247.com. You can still sign up right now, 75% off through the end of today to be able to jump on board for the first entire year of the Justin Gainey era. The first look, we're going to have football, we're going to have baseball coverage. We're going to have all the different things that you're looking for, recruiting coverage. Michael Clark is still working really hard on the football side, even though, as we joked about yesterday, a lot of people probably aren't reading that right now, trying to keep up with what's happening with basketball, but we'll have full coverage of football, basketball, recruiting, everything that you're looking for in the coming months and the full year. So do make sure that you check that out. 75% off. That gets you 9 months absolutely free when you sign up for packpower247.com right now. Thank you to everybody for listening again. We will have full coverage this afternoon, and we will talk to you guys again soon.